Now that we've added the sleep function using the forever block, this is a good time to talk about loops and how the forever block works and how loops work. And we're going to do that by using animation in the LEDs as a way of exploring these concepts. So you'll notice that right above the logic blocks, logic tab, there is a section called loops. And it's a way of repeating a certain thing over and over again a certain number of times. Now, the reason I want to highlight this with the forever block is the forever block is kind of like a loop that keeps going through itself forever. So it runs that code forever. And so even though it's not called a loop, it is a forever, effectively functioning very similarly to a forever loop. And so we're going to do a few things right now to explore the differences and understand how best to use what when we're coding. So we're going to do that, like I said, by creating a little bit more of animation in our, our little pet monster here. So right now, for example, let's say we've got our sleeping robot that when he's asleep and when he wakes up, he's smiling. But what if we said that when he's asleep, he's actually snoring? So right now, he's just a straight mouth. He's just quietly sitting there. But what if we said maybe he snores? Let's see how we could add snoring to the code. And this will be a good opportunity to explore the difference between loops and the forever block. So here goes. So here's our code again. And right now we have this forever block. So right now we've got this be asleep code, and I want to make him snore a little. So what I'm going to do is add some animation and maybe even a quick sound to the snoring. So first I'm going to grab one of these, this LED block. I can either grab it from the basic, show LEDs, grab it here. I want to put a little pause in it since I'm going to change. I'm going to go from, show the LEDs, show straight, wait a little bit, then maybe have him open his mouth. Put another pause. Because we want this to be a little kind of like different, we're gonna have it do it like maybe 200 milliseconds. So the mouth will open and close at a different rate. And you can see here in the animation that the mouth is opening and closing, and it's happening kind of quickly. I wanted to like really breathe out, so I'm going to make it 500 milliseconds. Let's see what happens there. So it's mouth closed, open, mouth closed, open. So it's like really snore and close the mouth. Okay, that seems to work for what I want. And just because we're going to have fun with this, let's just have it play a tone every time it does that. So here it goes. When it's snoring. Okay. That looks like it'll work. So you'll see that it's right now our little emulator is showing us what would happen. We can download this code just to see how it works on the Makey bit. And this is also a good time to now he's happy, but when he's asleep, he's doing that. So he's constantly opening and closing its mouth. All right, because that tone is starting to get a little annoying, let's go to our code and get rid of that one section here. I'm getting rid of that code inside the forever block, and it's no longer in there. And I'm going to test this out, I'm going to put instead, when I click on button B, instead of being sad then, I'm going to put the function be asleep. So when I click on button B, call the function be asleep. All right, what happens then? I'm going to download it. Unplug it. Turn it on. So now I've gotten rid of that forever, the stuff in the forever block. So we're back to the code here. And now when I click on button B, well, button A is a smiley face. Button B is asleep. Now you see there, it just did one beep. Why is that? Well, because the function itself only has this happen one time. You see? And when you don't have it within a loop, it's not going to keep going as it did when it was in the forever loop. So if we wanted to have that snore a few times while the function was called, we could use the loops in there and say repeat X number of times, or while something is we can use these loop logic to run how many times this happens. So I can now instead say I want it to snore 4 times while it's asleep. And when I plug that in, and then download, turn it on, turn it off, and on, get to the board. Oops, sometimes if you turn it on and off too quickly, the lights, the LEDs, NeoPixels will stay on. Wait a little bit, turn it back on, okay. Nothing again, remember A was smiley face, and then B, well, now it's going to snore 1, 2, 3, 4 times. There you go. So now let's see what happens when we take that code we had before and put it back into the forever block. So now we have this loop. This is a forever loop, basically, that is happening. So now when I upload this code, I might turn off the sound on this. I'm going to download it. So now it looks like it's working the same as before. It's just going through, it's snoring, and it's just doing it continuously. But there's one important difference right now from what we've done now and what happened before. So now, when I turn it upright, it's going to keep snoring for a bit until it finally wakes up. What happened? Even though the forever loop, oops, there we go, and now it's doing it. I moved it a little bit, so it probably got a little bit of negative force on it. And now it's back. Now you see, what happened there? Well, now we put within this forever loop this repeat of 4 times. And that's something to think about as we write our code, is that it's going to follow all the instructions that you give it before it does the next thing. So even though it also has this forever loop that says, oh, wait until it's upright to change, it's going to finish what it was doing before. It's going to finish the whole code it was given before it even looks to see if it's upright again. And that's an important thing to remember. So if you want to have it be more responsive to what you're doing, you don't want to embed loops. But if you want to use it, if you want to have it repeat that action in certain settings, then sometimes a loop is handy. And that's one of the differences to explore in your code. And as you decide how you're going to build things, is that difference of which way is the code going to work and what is my goal with what I'm doing. You know, it's going through all its steps, so if you need it to be super responsive, you don't want to make it go through too many steps before it gets to the next decision point. Well, that's all for now. This was just a quick exploration of loops and how a forever loop is different from the loops in the code.